Hornets plus 15. Knicks are too good. The Knicks are too freaking good.
I tried to tell you that. I said we hadn't seen Charlotte on the road without LaMelo yet. They was winning at the end of the first quarter, 32-30.
I saw. They had an 8-point lead early. I was like, well, shit, Knicks. I just wanted to cover. Don't fuck around and lose this shit.
I was cutting up to the Wizards. Pathetic.
I told you about the Wizards.
And because I made a joke about it, every single person when they looked at that score, the first thing they thought of was you with the Wizards fan.
I deserve that.
When I glanced at the scores, every single time I saw the Wizards game, my thought was, damn, Ski.
You know what I thought? I thought I really put my hard-earned money on these guys. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, well,
I told other people to put their hard-earned money. So I'm sorry to anybody who listened to me on the Wizards yesterday.
I mean, if they're down to tail a Wizards bet, it's usually somebody that knows what's up, that knows like there's some risk involved when you're placing underdog bets like that. All right. So we got 7 NBA games, a few college football conference championship games, and then some college basketball later. Got a lot to get through. So let's start. I have 3 NBA bets open tonight. This is whoops. Just click the space bar. No, we're good. This is not one of them though. Magic, Sixers. Someone made a joke in the Discord that the Magic and Sixers play twice a week, and that's how it feels. Didn't Sixers just beat these guys, though? Maybe Philly's getting it together. I don't know.
Orlando just beat them.
Oh, Orlando ended up winning that game? Oh, no, they won and didn't cover, was it?
Correct.
Yeah.
They didn't cover that late line.
Yeah, it closed at 5.5, and they won by like 4. Right. That's why it felt like a loss. But yeah, I got nothing for this one. I got a bet in the Lakers-Hawks game. That's the first bet I have. You guys have anything here?
Well, I look at the injury report, and PG is playing in this game. Maybe that can help free up some of the other guys. Everybody's been saying all day it's supposed to be a Sixer spot, but I don't trust them until I see it. Orlando's been pretty consistent. They found out how to play without Paolo, and I know they're not as good on the road as at home, but I still would be putting my money on them before the Sixers, who haven't really showed me yet. So Orlando's a lean for me.
I'll put Orlando up for me too. That's probably the way I'd go, but I'm not. Chris?
Yeah, same. It's been a lot of spots. Like I know we especially Ski. Like you too, though, Kyle. Like you'll choose your spots too, like spot betting, and it hasn't been cashing at all. Ski was just talking about taking the Wizards yesterday. Like I took Philly earlier this season, and Cal, I came on your show and told nobody not to tail it. Told people don't tail it. Like it's a spot though, and spots have not been cashing. If you've tried to play the Pacers in the last 8 or 9 games, spots don't cash. So I'm with y'all, even with the major rest advantage, because this is a 3rd game in 4 nights and 4th game in 6 nights for Orlando. You mentioned the Kyle, they're not as good on the road. You do get Paul George back, but I can't put my money on Philly, so it still be Orlando or nothing for me here. And you got double revenge spot also for Philly here, but it's still not enough for me. And the last thing I'll mention, you got the 2-minute report that said that 2 things happened for Orlando that shouldn't have happened. Tyrese Maxey got fouled on the 3-point shot, and they let like 5 additional seconds run off the shot clock before like calling the second foul. So you could say Philly got screwed in that last game. Getting Paul George back to help, I still don't care. I'm not betting them.
The comments are all over the place. So Steve says Pacers are ass on the road. Steve, there's big colors on the screen that shows what game we're talking about. We're not talking about the Magic Sixers here, but he wanted to throw that out there. Someone said clearly the Hawks. I don't trust the 76ers. It's Magic against Philadelphia. We'll get to the Hawks game in a few. Comments are everywhere right now. So let's go ahead, move on to a game that maybe one of us is actually putting some money on. But this is not one for me. The Celtics are 2-7 against the number of their last 9. Bucks offensively, I know they dropped one, but as a whole, definitely showing us a little bit more offensively. If I was to bet the game, I would just take the points with the Bucks, but I'm not in a hurry to do so. Strictly because it's the Celtics, defending champs, maybe playing with their food a little bit here. In a home game against Milwaukee, doesn't that seem like the one where they're like, all right, guys, let's quit playing around. Let's just win this one by 25 points. I could see that. So I guess, you know what? Instead of Bucks or pass, I probably would go over or pass. But this is not one of the games I bet tonight.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and it could go the other way too. You can look at it that way. Do the Bucks feel like they need to step up and show everybody they can compete with the Celtics? They have been winning every game. They're on a big win streak until they lost to Atlanta. But at the end of the day, they're not a team that I trust. I definitely trust the Celtics more. And the Celtics they've been winning too, and when they win, it's been by the margin that they're asked to win by today. I don't see why they couldn't do that versus the Bucks at home. I also thought about Tatum. Usually when one of the bigs out, I like to look at Tatum, but I would prefer Horford to be out for his rebound. So I didn't play any props there. I'd probably just play the Celtics.
Yeah, I hear you. Chris, anything for this one?
I bet under last night at 231.
Oh, you're on the under?
Yeah, I bet it last night at 231 and a half. If I had to bet it right now, I'll talk about that bet, but if I had to bet the spread right now, I think I'd be with you, Kyle. I think I'd be taking the points with the Bucks. Just because the Celtics, like, they remind me a little bit like the Wizards, where like they turn it on and turn it off. The difference is if they turn it on, they're winning by 30. If the Wizards turn it on, they lose by 10. So in that, steam, I kind of feel like Milwaukee can keep the game close. Like Dame's been playing better. Chris Middleton makes his return. Hopefully he doesn't play too many minutes if you do like the Bucks. And I didn't play the Bucks in full transparency. But as far as the under goes here, Kyle, I was just kind of looking at pace. Both of these teams playing super slow. Neither team getting out, running in transition, scoring in transition. I know the Bucks offense has been pretty good, but I think the Celtics can play a little bit better defense. Their defensive numbers have been down the last few games because they've had a couple guys be out, but Drew Holiday's back today. Horford's back today. Everybody's back today outside of Porzingis, so their defense gets a lot better. And I kind of felt like they were going to play. And then on the Bucks side, the Bucks defense has actually been pretty good. I don't know if you looked at your numbers, Cal, but the Bucks defensively actually number 3 in the league right now. Last 5 games defending the 3-point shot, and we know that's all the Celtics want to do is shoot a bunch of threes. The Celtics also not playing fast, so I do think that this game, goes under. Like I said, I got 231 and a half. It's down 4 points now, but I think it goes under the number. Both times they played so far this season, the Celtics have won by double digits. Both games went under 232 and a 230 and a half.
Hey, okay, so yes, I'm looking at the numbers, and you are right. The Bucks are top 10 against the above the break 3, top 10 against the corner 3. They're actually playing well against the mid-range jump shot as well. So they're defending jump shooters well. But the thing about the Celtics is when they want to hit 25 threes in a game, they're just going to go do it. Well, 25 is an extreme, but when they want to hit 18, 20 threes in a game, they're just going to go do it. It almost doesn't matter who the defense is. I don't know. Let's move on to the Hawks. My first bet. Hawks the hell up, man. This Lakers team.
Shocker.
He be having the suspenseful plays. I thought he was about to be like, all right, I'm taking the Lakers. Let me tell you guys why.
No. I got the Hawks last night. I have a Hawks -4 ticket. I'd still play it at 5.5. Anything under 6 is cool with me. So, yeah, let me get the poll up. Prop Beaver is off on Fridays during football season, so it's just me in here producing the show. So give me 1 second. Let me get the Hawks up. I got the Hawks at -4, and the reason is, well, a bunch of reasons. Number one, the Lakers are an abysmal franchise. Look at these numbers against the spread. What is this, 1-9 in their last 10 against the numbers, Ski? Is that 1-9? Am I looking at that right?
Hey, Kyle, can you hurry up with your handicap, man? Can you hurry up with your handicap?
No, I think we should let's have a long discussion on this 1-9 in the last 10. No, the Lakers are a mess. We know the Lakers on the road is. I don't use the word like auto fade or like the banned list, or a lot of people talk. I don't really do that, but the Lakers on the road are about as close as you can get. That being said, kind of like the matchup for the Hawks here. I'm loving this new look Hawks team. Me and Helms were actually arguing in the Discord earlier. I trust the Hawks defense now. He's saying it's too small of a sample size. We're talking since DeAndre Hunter came back from injury. That was on November 15th. 11 basketball games, the Hawks played a good defensive game in 8 of those 11. And the last 4 in particular, great defensive games. Is it that crazy to think that the Hawks, with Hunter in the rotation, with Dyson in the rotation, with the draft pick as well, maybe this is just a much better defensive team, and we're starting to see it now that they're healthy. They're playing good defense. They've even covered as a home favorite a few times. I think 3-1 in their last 3 in their last 4 is a home favorite. So that trend might even be dead. Loving the way the Hawks are playing. Loving the number I got. And there was one second. Oh, so actually, check this out. Last 10 games, Hawks top 5 in offensive rebounding. The Lakers are being cleaned on the defensive glass. Hold on, there's more. Lakers run a decent amount of isolation. Hawks defense, solid against isolation. Hold on. I got it. Lakers struggle in transition. In the last 10 games, on the season, 29th in defensive efficiency against the fast break. Hawks have been running it. Hawks even playing good defense on the interior. Hawks across the board here. Now, based on what I just said, people are going to think I have this huge bet on the Hawks. It's 0.75 units. But I got it at a -4, and I think I'm on the right side here. Hawks up. Come on, Ski, put the belt up. Please put the belt up.
You're crazy if you think I'm backing the Lakers. You said they're auto fade or banned. The word for me is disgrace. Like, I don't even want to look at the games that they're playing. I just glance up at the casino every now and then and like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what's been going on. There's no reason for me to look at betting the Lakers here. They're not even trying out there on the court. They're having coaches
What if I put the
meetings.
graphic up and let you try it on for a second?
I don't want the graphic at all. I don't
even want the screenshot
I'm not mad at
available.
anybody. I'm not mad at anybody who takes it, but I don't want it at all. The Lakers, the Hawks defense thing, I'm not sure if it will continue. I mean, I agree they've gotten healthier. They do have Dyson, who's really good. It could continue, but I mean, I just look at who they've played. I mean, I guess we can say the Cleveland games, but one of the games versus Cleveland, they gave up 124. So I'm not sure. I'm not sold on Atlanta's defense, but I do know it's a lot better than what we've seen from the Lakers. So a combination of that and how the Lakers have looked offensively lately, I think they've cleared their team total, once out of the last, since they played Denver, since Denver took their soul. It would be probably Lakers team total under. I'll lean the Hawks, but I'm not even going to watch this game, bet on it, nothing. You should take the Hawks probably.
And Lakers team total under might be worth a look as well, because we just talked about how the Hawks have been surprisingly playing some defense. But in addition to that, have you guys noticed that the Lakers are starting to slow down the pace in the last 5 games? They're 29th in pace. So the Lakers, they like to
They
run.
just walk around the court. That's all they do.
So maybe the Lakers team total under is worth a look as well. Chris, you like Lakers for you?
Nah, I bet Atlanta last night. I got 3.5, guy.
Oh, you beat me.
Yeah, I bet it out because when I first started looking at it, it was 2.5. By the time I could handicap it, it had moved already, and I was like, "Who's betting on the games the night before?" But neither here nor there. Agree with the team total underlook that Ski talked about. The reason for and I won't, like, a lot of what I was gonna say, Kyle, you've already said. You talked about the defense. You talked about Atlanta being much better. You talked about the Lakers being much worse. It's also just a terrible spot. Like, I'll just add the spot. So last of a 4-game road trip. They got Portland coming up on Monday. Ski, faith is not lost. We'll beat Portland when we get back home. But last game of a 4-game road trip, they played 5 of their last 6 games on the road. This is the 5th game in 8 nights for the Lakers and a 7th game in 11 nights for the Lakers. And I talked about that, Kyle. I talked about that. I try to run that query daily so I can see who's in that spot, because it's been super profitable fading those teams this season. Those teams are 21, 31, and 1 against the numbers. So you're winning 60% of the time if you just, automatically fade that spot. But looking at the numbers, it gets even better. And Cal, you probably saw this in your charts as well, even though it's gotten a little bit better recently. I'll add this. The Hawks struggle with the 3-point shot. On the season, they're still a really poor 3-point defense. They actually got the worst 3-point defense in the NBA, allowing teams to shoot about 39%, and teams shoot the most threes against them. Well, that's what the Lakers can't do. Shoot threes. Yeah. So yeah, that goes into the handicap as well. In last 5 games, Atlanta's defense has been much better from 3. They actually top 10 in above the break 3 corner and top 15 in the league, and above the corner 3 as well.
All right, Hawks.
I'm so disgusted right now. I'm just ready to move on.
Me too.
Just get a different logo on the screen. Kings Spurs. I bet this game. Now that Wembanyama's been ruled out, though, I got to say I don't like it as much. I took the under last night. 1 second. I got it at 227.5. I think there's 228s now, so it actually moved against me. I thought there was a chance Wembanyama was going to play. I mean, he left the game with back soreness. That's a week-long injury.
Yeah, but Kyle, he hasn't been officially ruled out, right? He's still doubtful, though.
No,
right?
I think it's maybe not officially ruled out. I saw last night it was questionable. I must have read the doubtful thing, and for me, when I see doubtful, I just assume that's out. I would assume he's out. So I am on the under here. 1 second, let me get my notes up. The weakness of the Kings defense has been the perimeter. That dates back multiple years that they just can't defend the three-point shot. But Spurs take a lot of threes. They haven't been hitting them. So I don't really trust the Spurs to be the offense to exploit what the Kings are weakest at. But see, the thing is, without Wembanyama, can the Kings score on those short jump shots? Can they get inside and score? So I don't like this bet as much as I did before. We talked about it, I believe it was yesterday in the Kings game. Talked about how the Kings are great at limiting fast break opportunities. That's why we like the under in the Grizzlies game. That was last night, wasn't it, Chris?
Yeah, and the cash too.
Right? By like 20 points. If there's one thing the Kings are good at, it's keeping their opponents from getting out in the fast break. They are good at that. So maybe not a ton of fast breaks in this one. I think it stays under, but now that Wembanyama is going to be ruled out, maybe it opens some opportunities for the Kings to score. So I have this ticket open. I'm not crazy about it.
I like Malik Monk over his point, 16.5. He's been key for them. That's why they have him in the starting lineup. His first game back from injury, he played 20-something minutes. He only got 14. But every game since then, he's cleared the 16.5 number. And the Spurs, I think they're the third or fourth worst defense the last 5 games. I know the last 5 games they're giving up an average of 120 points per game. So it should be plenty to go around. I think Malik Monk can get 17 of them.
Monk over 16.5 points. Chris, where are you at on this one?
I didn't play it. I like the Malik Monk look, but that Ski mentioned. Me and Munaf was actually talking about this after we did a show earlier today. His threes, Ski, over 2.5. I think he's hit like 4 in every game since he came back as well. So yeah, I think, and he's the only person on the team that can shoot a 3. And I think they shot 23% from the 3-point line in Memphis last night. So he'll be needed to knock down a couple. So I do like his up and over his 2.5 3-point prop as well. I'm with you though, Kyle. I like under. It's scary because Wemby. I didn't bet it, but that's what I had in my notes as well. I got a Spurs team that's playing. They played unrested 4 times so far this season. They're 3-1 to the under. They're averaging 104 points in those games, in those 5 games when they're unrested. And without Wemby, if he doesn't play, Devin Vassell also got ruled out. They rank 30th percentile in offense and scoring. Just 111 points per game. I was actually looking at their team total specifically because I think the Kings can, while they don't play a lot of defense, I think they should be able to slow San Antonio down in this spot. And the Kings got double in-season revenge in this spot as well. They've already lost to San Antonio twice.
It's embarrassing.
And now both teams are unrested. That's so embarrassing. They got smoked in both of them too. Last thing I'll mention, I was looking into a couple trends, just the one for this season. Unrested road favorites this season coming off a loss. 6-1 to the under. Games are staying under by an average of 11 points. So it says that they win with defense. And I think with the spread ballooning this big, because this was at 3 when I wrote it down last night, I do think it's an under game. Maybe even a San Antonio team total under.
I hope you're right because I do have a bet open on it. I just really wanted, if Wembanyama was playing in this game, I feel like I would really like that under. Take away those short jump shots for the Kings, and I think it would be a good look. But without him, it's kind of like, hey, I got an open ticket. Let's gamble a little. All right. Pacers on the road in Chicago. Someone said, Kyle, you doing NBA like full throttle? I'd say so. I mean, next week I'll be doing the nightly handicapping videos where I upload, and then we'll be like fully in. But I've been looking at it, placing bets, so I'm in. I'd say I'm coming off the bench right now. So we got Pacers on the road in Chicago. Oh, you guys had a good call on this one. You guys both like the over, and you both like Chicago. Pretty much the game went exactly how, if I remember correctly, how both of you said it was going to go. I didn't.
You said that too, Kyle.
Yeah, but I kind of was just.
Too.
Yeah, but I kind of just piggybacked off of what you guys said. I didn't look at the game. I didn't bet it. So you guys had this one figured out. What was that? Chicago on the road in San Antonio, right? That was last night. So now they fly back home. Man, Pacers are trash. I didn't look at this game. The next one is my bet. The next one. But in this one, I got nothing.
I agree. The Pacers have been trash. Their offense has been nowhere near the level that it was last year. They've been especially poor on the road. And they do have the rest advantage in this game. That's probably why they're favored here today. But I don't know if that's enough. I mean, Chicago, they do. When I looked at the injury report, like it keeps getting worse and worse as the day goes on. So it's going to depend who they have out there. Giddey's there, Levine is there, Alonzo, Kobe White. So if they're really shorthanded on a back-to-back, I can see the Pacers winning. But if everybody's in, I'm not betting the Pacers. If Nembhard is in, I think I trust them more to score. I would look towards maybe the over, but I need to see the final injury report for this game.
Yeah, I'm good on this one myself. Chris, do you have anything in this one?
Same. No, just to kind of add a little bit more to what Ski was just saying about rest. So Chicago, like I was looking into this and I was trying to figure out how I could get to Chicago. I know it's the second leg of a back-to-back with San Antonio. I didn't play it because of the injury report, like Ski said. I do think Nembhard is going to play. I know he's listed as questionable, but I think he just set out the other day in Brooklyn because that was the second leg of a back-to-back. But Chicago was rested before this game. They actually had 2 days rest before the win last night. And for the Pacers, even though they had last night off, this is still third game in 4 nights, fourth and 6 nights for them. So, yeah, that does not make me feel comfortable about laying. Like, I'm not laying points with the Pacers. You can forget that. But I would like to get to Chicago thinking that they can keep the game close. And that even if the Pacers win, it'll probably be about a point. I don't think they get smoked at all in this game. So that's the way I would look. But like Ski said, I need the injury report because I do think the Pacers, I think it's going to take a while. Like all of these teams that are struggling, like we talk about with the Lakers playing, 5th game in 7 nights the other day, 7th and 11th. You don't get a chance to like practice, and like correct the things that are going wrong that happen in the game. So we saw that, a couple nights ago with the Pacers getting smoked in Toronto. Then the Pacers next night, they end up in Brooklyn. They get smoked again. We just got to like know that if they don't have time to practice, nothing is going to get fixed. And in this spot, only they could potentially get Nembhard back. So, I mean, he's going to help a lot, but it's not enough for me to lay 3 with him on the road. 0-9-1 against the spread in their last 10 games.
Yeah, I am with you guys there. Here we go. Next game. Minnesota, Golden State. It looks like Steph is going to play. I'm just going to put money line because this is bouncing back and forth. It's pretty much a pick 'em. Am I seeing Steph as probable? Am I seeing that properly?
Yeah, he just got ruled in, and Draymond's going to play too.
All right, cool. So this line may have moved. What's the line down?
It hasn't moved yet.
It hasn't? All right. Well, I'm on Minnesota money line. Got it at plus 106. Let's do it. Ski, it's over. The long, dark travesty that was the Minnesota Timberwolves is over. They're back. They're playing defense. 3 games in a row. Lights out defense. First in defensive efficiency in their last 5 games. They're locking the perimeter down. Locking down the above the break 3 down. Locking down the corner 3. The playoff run Minnesota Timberwolves look back, and I'm here for it. Not to mention you got Golden State coming off the back-to-back against a Rockets team that's becoming a little bit of a, I don't want to use the word rivalry for the Warriors and the Rockets, but there's a little something brewing there because of what happened last year. The Rockets were trying to take Golden State's 10 seed in the play-in, and they had that big game that was real emotional there. So I don't consider last night's game against Houston a small game for Golden State. They won by a close margin. Now back-to-back against a Minnesota team that's coming in with confidence. Let's do it. T-Wolves up.
Well, I had a bet on the T-Wolves last game. I also had a bet on the under. Those both were winners. I forget who the Timberwolves played before that Clippers game.
The Lakers, Ski.
Yeah, the Lakers. Was it that one? I don't know, yeah. But anyway, it was one of these games.
They gave up 80 points in back-to-back games.
Okay, so maybe it was, I don't know. Anyway, Anthony Edwards called out his team after one bad game and pretty much saying it was like playing with some kids, like they soft, etc. They have no identity, etc. And then apparently they talked about it, and they came back the next day and played a really good defensive game, held their opponent down and won the game. And he talked about it again and challenged everybody and said, how bad do we want to win? If we want to win, we're gonna continue to do this every single game. And that's what we've seen from Minnesota. So they're locked in right now. Ant says it's must-win time for them. That's stuff I like to hear if I'm backing them, and they have the rest advantage in this game. So I would look towards the Minnesota side if I'm betting the side in this game. And as far as the total, I talked about Minnesota's identity is going back to defense. So the combination of that, and I think Golden State's been playing pretty solid defense, if anything, lately. I think the market moved it down a few points. I think it still hasn't moved enough. I think can stay under as well.
In agreement in everything you said. I was also considering the under myself last night. So I was not expecting that. I thought the belt was going up on this one. I didn't realize that you had just recently.
Yeah, you're trying to bait me. You said, "Oh, Steph's in, Draymond's in." Okay.
So, yeah, I was trying to goad you into it. So yeah, you know what? I'll put under up for me too because I also was leaning towards under. I didn't bet that. The one I actually have the bet is Minnesota money line, but I'm not mad at an under in this one either. Chris?
Yeah, I don't really have too much to add. I think you guys did a really good job.
Take Golden State, Chris.
Hell no. When I talked about this game this morning, the only reason I hadn't taken Golden State, hadn't taken Minnesota, is because I thought people would wait, right? I thought like when Steph and Draymond got rolled in, because this was Golden State like -2 last night. But when I woke up this morning, I saw minus like 1.5. Then it started dropping to 1, and I was like, man, people already taking it because Steve Kerr said yesterday that Steph was going to play in this game. So I assume that the money would come back in on Golden State. But I'm right here with you. I think the correlation with Minnesota playing really good defense, like Ski talked about with Ant calling everybody out, is that their last 3 games they've actually been against teams on the second leg of back-to-backs. They caught the Lakers on the 5th game in 7 nights. They caught the Clippers after they absolutely mollywopped the Portland Trail Blazers. And now they're catching Golden State after that. I wouldn't call it a rivalry, Kyle, because they own them. I think it's 15 straight last night.
No, but there's some brewing there.
No, I agree it's brewing. But whenever Dylan Brooks is on the opposite side, there's always something brewing. Like that.
Yeah, true.
He's a brewer. That's what he is. So I agree with everything that you guys said. Minnesota has also like played really well in Golden State. They've won 4 straight in the head-to-head matchup. They've won the last 3. Like in the last 3 in Golden State specifically. Remember, Rudy Gobert was, in the headlock. So yeah, it goes back to all of that. So yeah, I think they'll get up for this game, and the rest advantage definitely comes into play. I also like under, so I'm with you guys in all assets of this one. This opened 222.5, and I was thinking with Steph coming back, the total will go up, but we haven't seen any of that movement either. So Minnesota, I haven't bet it yet, but I'll be on Minnesota in this spot, and I'll probably split it with the under as well.
I just want everyone to know Chris, I'll be sharing this screenshot around 1 a.m. Eastern time in the Discord to talk shit to Steve. Guarantee you he's suspiciously offline. He'll be playing Call of Duty tonight or some shit. He won't be around when the final score is 109-92 Minnesota. You won't be able to find Steez. You only see Steez when shit's nice. You don't see Steez when shit ain't going right. All right.
I wanted to say really quick. I was in agreement with you, Chris. I didn't play this game yet. I thought about it all day, and I was like, when Steph is rolled in, Draymond's rolled in, the lines will move. We'll get a better number. The total might go back up, etc. Still no movement yet. So
my thought when I played it yesterday was when they are ruled out, it'll move the other way. So I was thinking like, when they're ruled out, it'll be Minnesota -3. But now it's kind of working against me where it might end up being Minnesota +2.5. I got +106, so it's not like I got a terrible number. But it may close at better than that.
I thought that too, Kyle, and I was like, let me go check out what the beat reporters are saying. Anthony Slater said that Kerr said that Steph Curry the plan was to play today, and Draymond also had the possibility of playing today. So I kind of felt like both of them would come back for the game.
All right, now for the game of the night, possible preview of the Western Conference Finals, Jazz Blazers. It was late last night. I was going through the games. It was around 2 a.m. and I did all the rest of them. I got to this one and I was like, oh, no, not a chance. Shut the computer down. So I got nothing.
He said, it's been a long night. I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah.
First thing before I forget, because I think Chris mentioned it, just watch. When the Blazers play the Lakers, everybody will be healthy. Klingon, Robert Williams, everybody who hasn't been playing are going to be healthy when they play the Lakers. That's just how it goes.
Hey, Ski, real quick. I heard somebody say on Twitter that people heal up like X-Men when they play against the Lakers.
Like Wolverine. Yeah.
When
they
like
see
Wolverine.
the Lakers. That's exactly how it is. And it's I can see it now. But anyway, this game, the tank fest. Who's tanking more? I think honestly the Blazers see the Jazz on the other side, and they might be like, we can actually win this game. We can actually go out there and win a game. We're favorites tonight, guys. So I think you might get an effort from them. I just don't really trust what the Jazz have going on. So I'll lean Blazers for this game.
I'll put Blazers up for me too, just so you don't have to be the only one with a pickup. I got there's no chance though, Chris. Chris, take the Jazz, bro. Take the Jazz.
No, I'm never taking the Jazz. I got Christmas presents I gotta buy. I'm not putting my money on the Jazz. Man, I was just thinking because I think the same thing. I agree with you guys with Portland. I think. Just looking at them, Ski talked about this the other day. Like the defense has been pretty bad, but Utah, is going to be without Clarkson, Flipikowski, or however you pronounce his name, I'm probably butchering it. He's going to be out as well. But then while Ski was just talking, I was like, let me check this out real quick. So the Blazers were favorites 6 times last season as a home favorite. The Blazers were. They had 6 games where they were home favorite. They went 1-5 straight up and against the spread in those games. So I don't think I can quite do it, but this is a close the laptop game, Kyle. Get some rest.
Yeah, close the laptop game. This one will not be on a TV. That's the last NBA game. So, all right, make sure you guys give these guys a follow. They each have their own YouTube show. Chris is in the morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Skis is at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's his daily show, but he also does a second show after that. So make sure you guys give him a follow on Twitter, subscribe to their YouTube channels. Appreciate you guys taking the time to come on.
Thanks for having me. Good luck to everybody.
Appreciate you, Kyle. Best of luck tonight, fellas.
Yep. Later. All right. It's college football. Let me get these jamokes in here. I didn't even send them the invite link. 1 second. There you go. Just sent it to him. All right. Let's talk some college football, shall we? We are into the Conference USA Championship game. I sent him the invite. There's Andy. All right, so we got Andy and Scoop for this one. R-Truth. I got your name as R-Truth. Prop Beaver set it up. I don't know.
That's fine.
All right, here comes their Scoop. All right, guys, we got 3 conference championship games, and then Toast will take my spot to do some college basketball. First up, Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State. So before we get into it, do we have an injury update on Mr. Huff?
Ooh. Let me look that up.
Look that up for me, please.
Tyler Huff.
Helm says he likes some sauced keyboard typing ASMR.
No, it still says questionable, so that helps.
Yeah, that gives us a lot to work with. Well, if you guys saw the video I uploaded last night, you know that I am on Western Kentucky. Here's the catch. I have Western Kentucky at +1.5. So this is one of the worst bets I've placed of the year. Got absolutely cooked. I thought they were going to close as favorites. Not really sure why the market likes Jacksonville State as much as they do. Not saying they're wrong. I mean, usually when I'm that far off of the market tends to be right more than I am. So, I'm sure there's something I'm missing. But the way I see this game, there's just no evidence that suggests Jacksonville State's secondary is able to stop. Well, Jacksonville State's defense, I should say, is able to stop Veltkamp and the Western Kentucky passing attack. I mean, Veltkamp can 100% sling it. He's shown us all year. You give him time in the pocket, they will put up points. He can make the throws. If he has time in the pocket, he will make the throws and put up points. He's shown us that all season since he took over the starting quarterback job. So against Jacksonville State, that doesn't have much of a pass rush, against Jacksonville State that's pretty much gotten fried every time they've seen a passing offense, I think last week we have to chalk last week up as an outlier because every other instance this Jacksonville State defense has seen a passing attack this year, it hasn't been pretty. So, okay, Jacksonville State was able to give Western Kentucky some hard times last week. They still lost. Now, you could make the argument if Huff doesn't get hurt, do they still lose? Not sure. They still lost the game. I like Velkamp to have a much better game this week, tonight, than he did last week. So I like the matchup for Western Kentucky's passing attack. I think they're going to be able to throw the ball. I think they're going to move the ball. I think they're going to score points. Now, why am I echoing in my ear? I think it might be coming from Toast in the background. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so on the other side, no question, Jacksonville State's going to be able to run the ball on Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky's defensive front is trending in the wrong direction. Jacksonville State's going to be able to run the ball. But in my opinion, it comes down to a little bit of a coin flip game. Western Kentucky's going to be able to throw it. Jacksonville State's going to be able to run it. I don't understand why this game would be more than a field goal. I personally would have it close to a pick-em. So clearly I'm way off here. But I have Western Kentucky. I think they can win the game. Clearly there's action coming in on the other side, keeping this up at 4. So,
yeah, I don't think any of us really thought Jacksonville State would be here. Well, Rich Rod has been great. Their offense has been awesome. I think Andy might have had a future on Western Kentucky, actually, or at least he thought they'd win the Conference USA.
He picked them to win the conference, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, whoever wins this won't be in the playoff or anything. This is a rematch from literally last week where Hilltoppers beat Jacksonville State 19-17. So there's two things here. One is obviously hard to beat a team twice in a row, especially a conference game. The second thing is I still don't know if Tyler Huff's playing. He didn't play most of the second half last game against Jacksonville State. Logan Smothers had to come in. He's pretty terrible. It's not that Huff lights it up through the air or anything, and he had a bad game last week too, but he's such a huge part of that run game. He averages 6 yards a carry. He's over 1,100 yards on the season and 13 touchdowns. We're going to assume he's going to play because the line's still at 4.5 here, but I mean, yeah, last game was a pick 'em. This game's up to 4.5. I don't really see Western Kentucky stopping Jacksonville State's run attack. They haven't all year until last game. I'd have to imagine Rich Rodriguez will switch things up a bit, have some new things to work with. It helps his games at home. I know Velkamp's been great since taking over for Finley. Jacksonville State's pass usage isn't great. The only way I'd take this game or take the game in general is with Tyler Huff. I would take Jacksonville State if he's playing. He is the second leading rushing quarterback in the league, 19th in general for the whole nation. And his offense is just going to look so much different if Smothers is playing. So a lot relies on Tyler Huff's status right now. I wouldn't want to bet it if I really don't want to bet this game anyway. So. But I would take Jacksonville State if I had to pick a side.
I know what Andy's about to say. Andy's about to lead with, I don't care if Huff's playing. He's
going to be money line. He's going to bet the money line.
He did bet the money line, but he's going to say, I don't care if Huff's playing. He looked like shit last week before he got hurt.
Well, he didn't. I will say this. He looked bad through the air. But, I mean, he's not good through the air. We don't expect that. He ran all over Western Kentucky. But guess what? He has an ankle injury. So he's not going to be 100%. And it's going to be freezing cold in Jacksonville or Alabama, whatever city they play in Alabama. It's going to be freezing cold. So you're telling me a guy with an ankle injury who's relied on in the running game isn't going to be 100% in the cold? Like, I think that's a very bad situation for him. So that's my feelings from their quarterback situation and their rushing situation. Their running backs only ran for like 4.5 yards per carry, which isn't bad, obviously. That's fine, but it's not going to win you the game when everybody, and Scoop said it, and it was a perfect encapsulation of what I was going to say. Everybody harps on it's really hard to beat a team twice. It's the same reason people like Texas this week. It's the same reason people or same reason I'm kind of on UNLV. But in this game, you're looking at a Western Kentucky team that limped to that win. They didn't deserve that win. Caden Velkamp had his worst game of the year. 6.3 yards per attempt is terrible for him. He had to drop back a pass 47 times just for them to win that game. So you could say it's tough to beat a team twice, but they didn't get Western Kentucky at their best. They didn't get a good Western Kentucky. And I know Jacksonville State had the injury, but the injury's still there. It was 6 days ago, and it's an ankle sprain. Even if he plays, there's no way the guy's going to be 100%. So I'm sorry. I don't think it's beating a team twice, or it's tough to beat Jacksonville State twice, or for Western Kentucky to win this twice. They won when they were limping through. They played badly and beat them. I think Western Kentucky is going to have a much better game than they did last week. Do I think Jacksonville State's going to be able to run? If Huff's even 50%, they'll probably still have a pretty good running game because Western Kentucky has been getting run on like crazy this year. But you also need to be able to throw the ball on them. I don't necessarily think that they have the team to do that. I think Western Kentucky is going to get whatever they want through the air. So, yeah, I have Western Kentucky plus 145. I bet that I had this team from the beginning of the season winning this conference, and I expect them to finish it off.
You did. You did. Someone said you don't think Rich Rod was holding back, knowing they were going to play him again. I mean, if they
the only reason
him.
the only reason I don't think they held him back is because they didn't know they were playing them again.
They wouldn't have played him again. Yeah.
If Liberty won over Sam Houston, they would have been playing Liberty.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Tulane Army. This is a weird game because it's supposed to be like cold as all hell, and I'm not sure what I don't know if that necessarily. I mean, you would think it might favor Army a little bit, but I don't even know how much that favors Army. It just makes this game a little weird. I did bet it. I actually have 2 bets on this game. You guys want to go first here?
I'll go. Yeah, I mean it's a shame this game doesn't really mean anything come playoff time. Unless, like Kyle talked to me earlier, unless it's like 50-6 Army, and the UNLV game's
I think.
like
Hold on,
6-3.
before let's talk about that real quick. I think yes, right now as it stands, 99% in all likelihood, the winner of Boise State UNLV goes to the playoff. But I think there's a world where if Army beats Tulane 50-6 and UNLV wins an ugly ass game against Boise State with like 6 turnovers apiece, I think Army could still potentially jump UNLV if it's a crazy circumstance. But
0%.
yes, 0%.
So it's never 0%.
It's never 0%.
It's never
I'm talking
0.
a game, UNLV Boise State 5 turnovers apiece. The final score
6-3.
Yeah.
You realize that if SMU loses tomorrow, they're out, right? And they had one
they're
bad
not.
one loss in the regular season. Army had one game where it was against a good team, and they got ran off the field. They proved nothing this year. You know what? Go to my pick. I have Tulane. I think Tulane's going to win by 3 touchdowns. This Army team, no disrespect, love the truth. They're the biggest frauds. Respect to them for what they did this year. They played an absolute gauntlet of a schedule that started with Lehigh. It was a really good schedule this year. They walked into Yankee Stadium. They got boat raced by Notre Dame. It wasn't even a contest. That was the only meaningful opponent they played. Now, I know Tulane's not Notre Dame, but Tulane does play a similar style, actually. They do want to run the ball a lot. They can play really good defense as well. So they're a lower level group of 5 version of Notre Dame, but they're very similar in some of their aspects. So I think Tulane, especially coming off a loss, is just going to be able to do whatever they want, take their anger out on them. If you watched last week, Army didn't exactly have the most convincing win over UTSA. No disrespect to UTSA. They're not a good football team. Tulane is miles better than them. I know they lost to Memphis last week. It was a weird Thanksgiving game. They played terribly. Clear look ahead for Tulane. They already knew they were in the AAC championship game. They needed to win that, and they screwed it up. Ohio State did the same thing last week. Both of them had the 2 most embarrassing losses in college football. But this Army team, they've been frauds all year. They proved it against Notre Dame, and coming into this one, I was surprised the line was 5. I think these teams are 2 touchdowns apart. I think this is going to be ugly tonight. So I have to win.
Bold words there, Scoop.
So obviously, Andy hates patriotism and the Army Service Academy.
There you go.
Doesn't like our soldiers. Hates Veterans Day. Yeah, I mean, anyway, I don't. So this game is at West Point. Obviously, that helps Army. It's going to be cold for Tulane standards from New Orleans to West Point, where tonight's going to be, I think, under 30 degrees and windy. I was really hoping for an Army-Navy game, followed up by another Army-Navy game. But, the reason I picked Memphis over Tulane was because of their offense last week. Tulane just can't keep up with solid offenses like Memphis, especially their running game. Tulane isn't a great rushing defense. Army has over 200 yards rushing a game. They also do lead the nation in time of possession, fewest turnovers, but they really don't have the another aspect like a passing game or anything. They also do. They're also just going to struggle against Tulane's offense. I think Tulane also keeps the ball a ton. They have a great run defense. They still have the best offense in the country. They're averaging almost 40 points a game. Mensah's been awesome all year. He's a great touchdown interception ratio, and defensively they still do hold teams to 18.4 points a game. Really, that defense has to play like they did against Navy, where they shut them out and just completely zone in and take away the run and the gameplay the same way. I know it's a bit concerning watching their defense lately. Army's an incredible running team, but I do trust their offense. I don't mind the freezing weather for Tulane. At least it's not raining or snowing. I wanted to get the Army. I can see why people could take Army, but I'm going to take Tulane. They've been dominated all year long in conference. I know, obviously, Army has too, especially defensively, but I'm going to take Tulane here.
So Eric Barlow said in the comments, Liberty lost on Friday. Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State played on Saturday. Yeah, but what we're saying is if they missed the field goal and Jacksonville State won the game, they would have been playing Sam Houston State instead of Western Kentucky. So
why are people bringing up the weather in the Tulane game? It's not rain. It's just going to be cold.
It's cold. They're from New Orleans.
I don't know, but it's supposed to be okay. Back to this game. It's supposed to be windy.
6 miles per hour is what it says.
Oh, I don't know.
That isn't
I heard someone. I'm on Tulane too. You're on Tulane, right, Scoop?
Yeah, I took Tulane.
So I split my money in half on this one, because I'm a little worried about Tulane's offense here. I'm completely on board with Tulane shutting down Army. We saw what they did to Navy, and although I do think Army's offense is better than Navy's, obviously there's a lot of similarities, and Navy couldn't do shit on Tulane. Like, literally, Navy's an offensive line. Navy's an offense that's relying on the offensive line generating push. They generated 0 push. Army's very similar. They need to generate push with that offensive line, and I'm just not seeing it happening here. So if I'm on board with Army's offense having all kinds of problems, I'm with that. I don't know. With the added weather, I'm not crazy about Tulane's offense going off here. So what I did is, instead of putting a full unit on Tulane minus 4.5, I put half on Tulane, and I put the other half on Army team total under 20.5. Protects me from a 2017 Tulane win, and I get backdoored or some shit. So, yeah, I feel the same as what a lot of these guys say. But Andy's saying Tulane's going to win by 3 touchdowns. I don't know about that.
Dog walking.
A dog walking. You're expecting a dog walking.
This guy likes the Taliban, apparently.
All right. Next up. Game of the night.
I'm juiced for this game.
You're juiced for it?
High.
You that's the word you would use to describe your feelings about this game, juiced?
Juiced.
Buzzsaw.
Since Sunday when they started showing like the pregame hypes on the
Oh, you've been watching the pregame hypes on YouTube?
Oh yeah, I've been
Okay.
Andy watches shit like that. He probably watched all the pressers too. He loves pressers.
No, but we all saw what Haj Malik Williams said in his presser.
He doesn't know where Boise is on a
Can't
map.
find Boise. Can't find them.
I mean, but we talked about that on the midnight show. Not if you're talking about he doesn't know what state Boise's in, okay. But if he's saying he can't point where Boise is on the map in Idaho, none of us know that.
None of us can do that.
Like,
no.
you show me Idaho, the
I can
state.
do that.
You could show me where in Idaho Boise is.
I mean, yeah, I know
Why do you know that? Why do you know that?
I know a lot about geography.
Why?
I don't know any other town in Idaho, but I know
Hold
Boise.
on. So if I showed a diagram, a blank diagram of Idaho, you can
Yes, I
point
can
to.
pinpoint where Boise is.
I don't think you can.
Yes, I can.
We're gonna do that one day.
Why? Do you?
What
Is
do
it
you
north?
mean? Is it north or
Yeah,
south?
Toast just asked if it's north or south.
Well, it's like right,
You Googled it. He's got it on the screen right in front of him.
right there,
I see it in his glasses.
right there.
He points to the screen and goes, "It's right there." Unreal. Anyway.
I mean, I knew where it was. I was trying to see for my
Oh,
personal
yeah, if you have to
well-being.
Google to see where it is, it defeats the whole purpose of what we're
No,
saying.
oh my god, that's not what I was doing.
Anyway, someone said Scoop can't even spell geography. All right, UNLV, Boise.
GLP,
Andy, are you going? You've been a Boise guy all year.
Have been. I think when we did the previews, I think I picked them to make the playoff. I was scared that Liberty would be in this situation, but I'm off of them today. I think UNLV is winning this game. I have their money line as well. I'm terrified that I like 2 dogs money lines today. That's terrifying. I haven't done that in a while, but I know what I just said about the Jacksonville State Western Kentucky game. Was it's hard to beat a team twice, but you heard the way I said that it was Western Kentucky didn't play well and they still won the game, and that game was last week. When these teams played, it was, and I think Kyle would agree because I think you guys both had UNLV and I had Boise. UNLV probably should have won the game. Like, they played really well. I think we put it in the video yesterday. There was like an 8-minute drive at the end of the game where Boise just kind of ran away with it there. They just kind of got whatever they wanted on the ground. And that was the beginning of Haj Malik Williams being kind of human, pedestrian, not pedestrian, but he had 3 games prior to that where he played against pretty good pass defenses. Syracuse was not a bad pass defense. Fresno State was not a bad pass defense this year, and he was lighting them up. He had that game against Boise, and then he had a couple games where he was just terrible. Against Hawaii, he was terrible. Against that was a road game. That was a good pass defense too. Then he started to pick it up at the end of the year. He was throwing for like 8 yards per attempt again. Success rates were going up. He was doing a really, really good job. I think he's back to that. I think he's back to that level. So I think that they'll be able to throw the ball better than they did in the first game. And I think obviously the running game is going to be there. Boise's not a good defense at all. We know that. Their pass defense is much worse than their run defense though. So I expect them to be able to do what they want on offense. The question is, can they stop Genty? Well, they did in the first game. And I know that's what Kyle's about to tell you too. They did stop Genty in the first game. He ran the ball 33 times. Problem was Maddox Madsen ran all over them. I don't think that's going to happen.
All over him. He broke 2 runs, like all over him. It's a little bit of a stretch.
He had 2 big runs but he did run all over him in terms of the statistics. He had like what? It was like 60 or 70. It was a crazy stat line. You can't bet on that happening again. You can't guess on that happening again. UNLV controlled the first game. They controlled it and they looked good. They probably should have won that one. I don't expect long drives from Boise in that situation to happen again. I know the game's in Boise this time, but it's not impossible to win there. I like UNLV here. I think this team has been really good since Sluka left. It really is funny. Sluka left, and we all thought, like, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. They're a far better team than they were after they beat Kansas. This is a really good football team. If they went to the playoff, they'd probably get boat race, but they're a very good team, and I think they can win this game, especially on the road. I know this is not a new environment for UNLV. This team goes there every year. They've played. This is not like a new Mountain West game or anything. They know how to play there, so. They have a veteran quarterback as well. Malik Williams, this is his 5th year, I believe now. He started at Campbell for a long time, so he's a veteran as well. So I expect UNLV to win it.
Yeah, I'm on the same side. I did not bet the money line, though, because I'd probably make this one about Boise State minus 2.5 to 3. So at 4.5, I feel it's a valuable bet. We'll see if that has a happy ending. Yeah, I bet UNLV plus 4.5, and I'm not going to reiterate what Andy said because a lot of it was pretty spot on to how I feel. I mean, that 1 second quarter interception by Malik there, they gave him a free 7, and that's the difference in the game. If that's reversed, if Madsen throws an interception on his own 10 instead of Malik, I mean, UNLV wins that game maybe by double digits. That one play changed the whole game. Like Andy said, Genty couldn't run the ball. He averaged less than 4 yards per carry. They gave it to him a billion times. Meanwhile, UNLV was running the ball on Boise State. There's just a lot of things bounced Boise State's way in the first game, where if those bounces went UNLV's way, they might win that game comfortably. But the reason I'm not playing the money line is this game is in Boise State. So that's a factor to me. So even though I do think on a neutral, I would probably be on UNLV money line, the fact that this game's in Boise leads me to believe that if there's a way for Boise to figure this out at the end and end up winning the football game, I think they will figure it out. But at plus 4.5, there's no way. It would only be UNLV, and that's what I bet.
Yeah, Butte, Nampa, Twin Falls, Idaho, they're all nice areas around Boise.
Oh, my God, no one cares, dude.
Winner of this game obviously goes to the playoffs. Another home game for a conference title. This one's at Boise State.
Hold on, we already talked about Army could get it.
It's not happening. Yeah, listen, UNLV are 8 points away from being undefeated. They played at Boise, lost 29-24, pretty much the spread. They had the lead in the fourth there. In that game, they were one of the few, like Andy said, like shut down Genty. He had 128 yards, but like he said, on 33 carries. So he only averaged 3.8 yards a carry. So it's how you beat this team, shut down Genty and try to make Madsen throw the ball. UNLV had that game won. Boise State was 4 for 4 on 4th down conversions that game. They pulled that out. That's not happening again. UNLV even averaged over a yard per play more that game. That interception to end the half, I don't know if you guys remember, that just blew it for them. That turned into a 2010 halftime game. UNLV is a solid team. They're 4th in rushing. They're 7th in scoring. I also just think they have more of a balanced offense. Hodge has a better arm than Madsen. He's a really solid rusher. He's a great dual threat quarterback. Boise, I think, is just kind of a one-trick offense. Give it to Genty and pray he does his work. And Genty actually has fallen off this season as it went on. His yards per game went down. His yards per carries went down. The Wyoming and Nevada games were gross for Boise. They were lucky to escape both of them. That same UNLV game, they beat Nevada by 24. And plus, Malik Williams, since that Boise interception, only threw one other interception the rest of the season. So instead of Genty running, UNLV does run the ball more. They have a variety of people that can do so, though. Kylan James, Chaden Thomas, Malik Williams. They can all run the ball great and consistently. And not only that, but they do have the 14th best defense for EPA per rush. And the number 8 in success per rush. So they have the game that they need to play here. So I think UNLV does win outright, and I do take the points.
Radagast Brown said their parlay in Western Kentucky moneyline and UNLV moneyline at plus 504. Radagast Brown's one of the most annoying people in the comments, but I actually like that parlay. Risky.
I didn't mention that Boise State has been playing with fire. He just alluded to it. I know last week they won. Actually, Oregon State covered, but that was great. But they were playing with fire. They nearly lost to San Jose State. They still covered that game, but they were down I think middle of the third quarter. They were playing with fire there, and then Wyoming nearly beat them. Wyoming's a terrible football team. So yeah, this is a Boise State team that's not exactly coming in here roasting hot.
All right.
What is Genty's number? Somebody asked. I'm trying to find
it was like 175.5 or something.
Trash.
In the cold weather, he might carry the ball 40 times tonight. In all seriousness.
Someone said, Kyle, you should do a UFC show. We're back next week doing the UFC. During college football, I can't. I don't have time, but starting next week, now the college football slowed down, I got 2 UFC guys. Remember, we were doing it over the summer. I have 2 UFC guys that come on for UFC. So that'll be back next week. Actually, weird that you asked right now. Should we bring Toast on, talk some college basketball?
This is also a hedge bet for me, really, because I put Boise to win the Mountain West before the season started.
Oh, the old hedge.
The old hedge. I just don't think they're going to win.
Let's see. Andy Toast.
What he kept saying to mute me. I appreciate you not doing it.
I know. Well, it's weird how they're like, that same guy says, has Andy hit a bet yet? When you have on college basketball, you have the highest earnings of any of us so far.
Yeah, I'm second.
Thanks.
I'm second.
All right. So college basketball. Toast, I'm taking that Northwestern, by the way. I'm going to be with you on that.
I'm sorry. I love it. But yeah, it all goes to hell. But no CLV, so that's a positive.
Yeah, you don't want that.
No, it dropped to 3, so you did get some.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You.
All right, let's get into this, boys. Some college hoops. Only short day today, big day tomorrow. Andy, really quickly looking ahead tomorrow, and Scoop, what are your thoughts on Gonzaga, UConn? I think Gonzaga might win by 20. What are your thoughts?
You mean Kentucky, right?
Yeah, Kentucky.
Kentucky, yeah.
I might actually go to that game.
I think the Zags win. So
should be fun. Another cross-country trip for Kentucky might be a little bit hard, but they're playing in Seattle, so it's different. But anyway, another team that's dealing with the trip, West Virginia just came out of the Bahamas, 3 straight overtime games. Scoop said this is his lock of the year, so why don't you kick us off, Scoop?
I didn't say lock of the year. I just said
What did you call it of the year?
The most money I bet on a sporting event for college basketball. Yeah, so it's still hard to put. I disappeared. Money on Georgetown or sorry, that was losing my mind. Yeah.
Are you good, bro?
I've been there.
Yeah, I think I'm
I've been there
okay.
so many times, but it's all good.
I just completely zoned out. I'm sorry. It's yeah. So it's still hard to put money on Georgetown or DePaul yet, for my own personal well-being, since they've been bad for so damn long. I still don't really believe in Georgetown. The one power conference opponent they played was Notre Dame, and they lost by 21. They do have the 359th strength of schedule, so yeah, their 7-1 record may be nice for their standards, but the competition isn't there. And let's be real, even with their strength of schedule, they are 104th offensive rating, 85th in defensive rating. They're going to be the same miserable Georgetown team that we're used to seeing. It's going to be 2 or more years before they get better again. Georgetown, they have 4 double-digit scorers, and that's it. So they have no bench depth. They have no other scoring. Against these lower teams, they're still shooting 46%, and even worse, 28% from three, which is 324th in the country. So compared that to West Virginia, they played Arizona, the Zags. They played Louisville. They played Pitt to start the season. They beat the Zags. Like Taylor said, they went to overtime with Louisville and Zona. They're already tested. Tucker DeVries and Javon Small should easily score 20-plus points here. Plus, with the schedule, they've been playing great defense. They're still top 30 in effective field goal percentage, allowing only 70 points a game and less than 30% from 3, something Georgetown's already terrible at. So, like I said, this is the biggest bet of the season so far for me. West Virginia minus 8.5. I just don't see how Georgetown's going to keep this game close, especially as an away team, even though Toast loves fading people coming back from the Bahamas or Maui or one of those.
So real quick, I think this comment has merit here. Someone says, if UConn beats Gonzaga, Toast better calm down with the UConn hate.
Okay. I can't even start. First, how you said Gonzaga. First, how he spelled UConn. I'm just going to go ahead and skip that whole segment really quickly and move on.
Did he say Gonzaga? Is that what he said?
I didn't say
I don't
it.
know.
Oh, I heard.
Toast purposely targets the pronunciation to avoid the question.
We've been good for 25 years, and people still can't get Gonzaga right. Like, it's just irritating. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I like the Zogs. The Zogs are pretty good.
Andy, your thoughts? I ended up jumping in the pool. So, what are your thoughts?
What pool did you jump in?
The first one, the first half pool.
First half. I'll jump in it with you. I hadn't done it
It was
yet.
a little warm.
Honestly, I was terrified. I was expecting to wake up today, look at it, and it was gonna be like 10.5. I didn't put the graphic because I didn't know we had it, but I'll
That's
jump.
why I bet it, because it wasn't 10. That's why I bet it. It made me a little bit too confident, I think.
Yeah, I thought people were going to be betting West Virginia. I was like, ooh, this is all right, maybe. And then I look, and it's a point lower than what it was last night. So maybe maybe we're not idiots. I don't know. Georgetown.
Oh,
the reason I was so heavily on it is because it is such a huge step down for West Virginia. I mean, they just played a gauntlet of a schedule in Atlantis. A lot of overtime. All of them went to overtime. And I mean, I guess they're coming out of that with positive thoughts. I mean, they're definitely coming out of that with a better resume. They beat Gonzaga and they beat Arizona. So like you look at this game, and I know it's in the Big 12 Big East Challenge or whatever, but it's Georgetown. I mean, they think they should be walking all over them, right? So at least in the first half, you're right. I think not only are they back home from a long trip, add on the fact that they're playing Georgetown, I think they could come out a little sluggish and help us here. So. Yeah, I'll stick with you on the first half. That was gonna be my thing. I hadn't jumped in yet, but I'll do it.
Yeah, for me, again, I played Georgetown first half plus 4.5. I think that obviously Georgetown hasn't played anybody. I can't argue that, but I think that was on purpose. I think that Cooley wanted to finally get this team to have a little bit of confidence coming into early December, and they finally start to have that. I do trust what Georgetown can bring with Epps and Mack and PV. I think all those guys can handle the ball well. Obviously, they're not a team that turns the ball over very much at all either. Again, the competition hasn't been great. But I do think that Georgetown has a pretty big size advantage, and they're going to be able to hang with West Virginia inside. I think they're going to make West Virginia shoot the deep ball a lot. And if West Virginia is on like they have been over the last couple of weeks, then this game probably won't be close. But I see some tired legs for West Virginia, not to mention the fact just the overall size for Georgetown should be able to get some hands in the face of these guys if they are shooting from deep. So I just felt like this is a bad spot for West Virginia coming off those 3 overtime games, winning 2 out of those 3, and now coming home to face a Georgetown team that's down. I think that this is like the time that like Georgetown has to really step up. Like, again, I don't want to deal with the second half of this game, but I think that the start of this game they're going to be trying to keep this game as slow as possible. I think Georgetown has ran a fast pace this year, but West Virginia has ran it slow. I don't think that's going to matter very much. I think that Georgetown's going to be able to defend at a high level, at least the 3 ball. And if West Virginia can beat them inside, then so be it. But I don't think so. Georgetown's like a top 10 defense inside this year. So I think with that and the size, I'll trust that West Virginia might be off a little bit from 3, because if they're not shooting their 3 balls, this game's going to be close all the way throughout. So I played Georgetown plus 4.5 in the first half. Yeah, we'll see. They'll probably lose by 15.
Someone says get some nuts and play Georgetown money line.
Dude, if I won like
that would be a bad bet for me.
You bets the last couple of days, I probably would have, but it just seems like everything goes to hell.
Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they won that.
I like
completely
this spot
shocked
for Georgetown so much, like it's not even funny.
That game against Notre Dame, they never should have played that game, because we would be looking at them like we were looking at the Paul.
Also, Notre Dame it can do what? They can get inside with ball movement. That's not what West Virginia
could lose to Elon. They could do that again.
Notre Dame is not a basketball team.
No, I don't think they are.
Although they did just play one of the best teams in the country, they're not a good basketball team.
No. But I also think that they can do things against West Virginia that Georgetown. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll see what happens. Illinois. We only have 2 today. I thought we had 3. Illinois, Northwestern. Another banger of a game. I actually kind of like Northwestern. Scoop, why don't you kick us off? What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I cashed my Northwestern bet last game against Iowa. Thank you, Wildcats. Illinois' first true road game here, playing Northwestern, who's now looking way better now that their leading scorer is back in Barnheiser. He's come in and averaging 20+. I think he'll match well guarding what's his name? Jacosinas.
Yeah.
He's probably a better overall scorer than Barnheiser, but yeah, their three losses are all close. When the Iowa game I just talked about, buzzer beater from Iowa to win, it's a rough way to start Big Ten play. But they only lost 2 to Butler, 5 to Dayton. This team's a good team. That Dayton one, they didn't have Barnheiser yet. Martinelli stretches the floor well for them too. He's their second best scorer. I know Illinois is good, but a bunch of them are freshmen and transfers going into their first true road game. It's going to be tough. I just love the physicality and toughness for Northwestern that plays with, and not to mention their defense is considerably better than their offense at this point. I didn't bet this game personally. I know Toast did. If this was a one-possession game, it'd be harder for me to pick Northwestern, but at 3.5 right now, I lean that way. Northwestern just had 3 extremely close losses. It's hard for me not to, if I was going to bet this, not to take them at home. They're going to have some desperation too. They don't want to start 0-2 in the Big Ten. So I would take Northwestern at home with the points if I was making a bet.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I took Northwestern plus 3.5. Andy, I'll let you go in a second. I pretty much feel the same way as Scoop does. I obviously Northwestern hasn't looked, their record isn't as good, but at the same time, Illinois has played a bottom 50 schedule. I mean, they really haven't done anything impressive to me. Not to mention the fact that Northwestern hasn't beat a top 100 teams, but like Scoop mentioned, the 3 teams that they lost against, they was a combined by 8 points total. So I also just feel like there's a couple things that, like for Illinois, that Tomlinson, Vilicic, or however the hell you say his name, if he continues to shoot 40% from deep, so be it. But I just don't think that's going to continue. Not to mention, we have a home team in the Big Ten with facing a team like Illinois, who's with a whole bunch of young kids on their first true road game of the year. I know that they played Alabama in a semi-away game or what have you, but I think Big Ten conference play away game against a Northwestern team that has been playing better than what their records suggest, I had to take the 3.5. I actually made Northwestern -1. Andy, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I haven't bet this yet. I probably will bet Illinois, especially because it keeps going down. If it gets below 2, if it gets to 2.5, I definitely will. But kind of what I said last night reigns clear here. Northwestern's played 4 games this year against top 130 3-point shooting teams. One of those games was Montana State. They won it by 3. They lost the other 3. That's Dayton, Butler, and Iowa. So that's a pretty clear trend that 3-point shooting teams are probably going to have some success on this team and keep the games close or win them in the case of Dayton, Butler, and Iowa. Although Iowa, to be fair, they won that on a buzzer beater, so I wouldn't even.
And they lost to Butler by 2 and Dayton by 5.
They were close games. To me, Illinois probably the best of. Definitely the best of those teams. Maybe Dayton.
100%, yes.
Yeah, they're not
good, but not that good.
They're 9th in 3-point attempts and field goals. So yeah, this Illinois team far better than all those. They're way better than top 130. They're 9th, literally top 10. So I expect Illinois to get that from 3, and also, Northwestern's not. They want to shoot 2-pointers, but they're not really making them as well. Illinois has had a pretty clear trend as well. If you can't shoot 2-pointer, if you're a good 2-point shooting team, Alabama and Arkansas, you can have offensive success against them. If not, you probably can't. The only other game you can really throw in there is Oakland, because their schedule was so brutal. Illinois, their schedule has been so bad, to the point where you basically can only look at 3 games for them: Oakland, Arkansas, and Alabama. But in those 3 games, those 3 teams are pretty good at making 2s. Those teams did have the most offensive success against them. Northwestern's 211th in 2-pointers, and they're shooting a lot of them, so they're not having a lot of offensive success overall. So I think Illinois will be able to stop them there, get their 3-pointers. I think Illinois should cover. I understand it's on the road, but with the way that Purdue played yesterday and a couple of other teams in the Big Ten, a little nervous to take Big Ten road teams, but I'm going to take a shot here, and I'll have Illinois.
Well, that'll about do it. Kyle, did you want to do the
Andy's on
parlay?
Illinois, he said?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll do the community parlay real quick.
I know that the Magic and somebody else had a whole bunch of votes. Hold on, I can tell you.
All right, so I got it.
Okay.
So for Magic Sixers, it was Magic money line, Bucks Celtics money line, Lakers Hawks was Hawks money line, and Kings Spurs was Kings money line. All right, cast your votes. Prop Beaver hit another underdog last night. That's 2 in a row.
Oh, yeah. I sent him a nice text message.
Yeah, he's fired up about it. He said, "Don't let me get hot." Yeah, and his big bet hit last night too. The 1.5 unit Christian Watson bet that he had.
Yeah, I tailed the hell out of that.
Someone wants to know if you guys have any other college basketball open.
Manhattan plus 9.5, Duquesne minus 3.5. I like kind of a lot, and I'm just don't take my word on that one. And then over 27 and over 127.5 in Niagara, Siena. That's the other three that I have.
I have a bet in that game. I have Siena money line at plus 114. I like them. They're the better team. I was surprised to see they were underdogs there. I also have Bryant and Delaware money line parlayed together. Delaware's plus 130. I just threw Bryant in there because I think Bryant probably gonna win by a lot tonight. And Delaware, they're also a team I think they can pull the upset on the road against Duquesne. So I don't have a lot tonight because there's a lot of college football that I have. I have 2 money line underdogs, so I'll be focused on them. But yeah, those are a couple for me.
All right, hold on. This is huge on the screen. Let me just make it. All right, the first leg of the community parlay is Boston Celtics money line. Let's get the second poll going. And the second poll is going to have, let's see, Pacers, Bulls. They like the Bulls. No one wants to bet the Pacers. Jazz, Blazers. They like Portland. And T-Wolves, Warriors. Let's go with, damn, that one was pretty split down the middle. Let's say T-Wolves money line. And then, you know what? I'll put, what's the first game? Jacksonville. I'll put Western Kentucky money line in there, too.
Coach, did you have anything on the High Point game? Somebody asked. I looked at it.
Man, I don't even want to talk about that.
I have North Texas -1.
I was gonna say I dabbled in High Point +3 last night, and I forgot to write it down and stuff. So yeah, I do have a bet on that game, but nobody can get that number. So yeah. So no, but yes.
No, but yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
I don't know if we were planning. I had a midnight stream set up. I don't know if we're doing one because there is a lot of college basketball tomorrow, and I assume we're not gonna be able to do it in the morning. So that was for Kyle.
But what'd you say?
I had a midnight stream, but I don't know if we're gonna have time. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, no, I'm down to a midnight stream tonight. Dude, those huge college football slates are done, man. It's just 6 games tomorrow. We're good.
All right. Yeah. So, yeah, on the midnight stream, we'll definitely talk Kentucky, Gonzaga, Marquette, Wisconsin. What else is tomorrow?
Because I set it up when I was there the other day.
Oh, okay.
There.
Tulane money line.
I hope that Michigan game's on there because I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm starting to fall in love with Michigan Wolverines. I'm just gonna say it out loud. Just get it out of the way and see what happens.
All right, cast your votes on this one. You guys were pretty split on UNLV and Boise, so I put both in the poll. So far, it's Celtics and T-Wolves money line.
Andy, what are your thoughts, or Scoop? What are your thoughts on Michigan? Am I crazy?
No, I like them. They're good. They're yeah, like I said, their defense too is awesome.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they can just fix the turnovers and Golden continues to get well, him and freaking Danny Wolf, I mean, I just, man, it's going to be a very hard team to stop, especially in the half.
Only going to get better, too, because they're so well coached. That's what scares me. They have one of the best coaches.
Tulane money line. Can someone get the odds up?
Yeah.
So the second place finishers were Boise, the Bulls money line. Oh, you know what? I'll put the Boise, the Bulls. No, the Hawks. More people voted for the Hawks. So we'll go Boise State money line, the Hawks money line. What were the 2 college basketball games? They like Illinois. And what was the other game?
West Virginia.
Well, they definitely like West Virginia.
Yeah.
All right.
Also,
what's the
is there a
last
winner
leg?
yet? Okay, what's the first 2? Sorry.
There's 3. It's
there it is. There it is. I can see it now.
Yep.
Let's do 45.
No, we need one more leg.
Oh, my bad.
Andy. Trying to cheat everybody.
And Bieber. Jesus, I almost said Beaver. Just re-signed with the Guardians. That's not one soda.
Shane Bieber? I feel like I haven't seen him pitch since 2022.
I didn't know he was still alive, to be honest.
He hasn't been good since 2022.
No, he was good.
Tell me
last
you
year.
don't know Seam without telling me
Yeah.
you don't know Seam. All 3 of you.
Bro,
Stop
no
it.
one
What are you
cares
talking about?
Shane Bieber.
Stop
Who even
it.
cares about the Indians or the Twins or whatever the hell he is
Jesus
playing?
Christ.
White Sox, that whole AL Central or whatever. No one cares.
No, I agree with that. The AL Central is absolutely terrible.
The Hawks money line is the last leg.
Shane Bieber, get out of here.
Just wait till Soto goes to the Red Sox.
413.
No, dude, I
What
told
is
you
it?
everybody-
What is it?
Follow up.
413.
Plus 413. All right, community parlay is Celtics money line, T-Wolves money line, Tulane money line, Hawks money line plus 413.
Tulane.
Thanks everyone for watching. I think tomorrow we don't have to come on as early as 10 a.m. We can come on at 11. It's only
We only
6.
6 games. Yeah.
Yeah, but is there college basketball too? Maybe we'll go through
Yeah,
some of
there
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can double dip midnight and tomorrow. Yeah, either way.
Yeah, so we'll do 11 a.m. tomorrow instead of 10 because we don't have the huge slates anymore. So there's no reason for us to start super early. So we'll see you all at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Have a good night.